Isn't the setup so cute? My poster back there says, if you go home with somebody and they do not have books on their shelves, don't fuck them. And that's great advice. Hello everyone, welcome back to my vlog channel. Today I am drinking a rum and coke out of a wine glass because it's just one of those days. Now, if you've been watching my book videos for the past little while since I started doing them a few months ago, you'll probably realize that I don't usually do TBR videos. I have a physical TBR, I have like lists of books that I want to read, but I don't tend to set strict TBRs for myself. I don't ever do like an August TBR, September TBR, and that's just because I'm such a mood reader. I like to just read whatever I'm feeling, and if I don't like something, I can switch. So I just feel like setting up a strict TBR and like putting that out on the world, putting that on the internet, and then you guys are like, oh, Haley said she was gonna read this book, and then if I don't read it, I'll feel bad. Like, it's just not, it's not a vibe. I have too many Aquarius placements for that. I want to ebb and flow and read as I go. Okay? So I don't normally set strict TBRs, but I like the concept of doing one for like a season because fall is approaching and I have quite a few books on my physical TBR shelf that I've kind of been putting off reading that I want to read, but I haven't yet because I feel like they would be perfect when it gets cooler in that fall weather. So that's basically what I'm gonna be talking about today. Will I for sure 100% read these books this fall? Who fucking knows? But these are the ones that are at the top of my list that I think I'm going to want to pick up. There are 10 physical books, and then I am gonna be talking very quickly about just a series on my Kindle. So let's go ahead and get started. These are the 10 books on my fall TBR. I don't know where my physical copies of the Hunger Games trilogy went. I have no idea. I read this series back in middle school, but I do not have them physically, but they're on Kindle Unlimited. So I've been reading the series on Kindle Unlimited. As you can tell, I am now on the second book, Catching Fire. I'm only like 30 pages into it. I finished Hunger Games last night. The reason I started rereading this now for the fall time is because the Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes movie comes out in like a month or two. So ideally I'll read these 3 books and then maybe go pick up the Ballad of Songbirds and Snake book and read that before I go see the movie. Very technical, a lot's going on, but basically I'm rereading the Hunger Games trilogy. So I'm gonna keep finishing this through the fall. So yeah, that is the series that I'm planning on reading this fall. And then moving on to the physical books. The first one is probably the least fall vibe. Like the rest of these, I really feel like fit the fall energy, but this, it just came out and that's why it's on my fall TBR. This is Love on the Brain by Ali Hazelwood. Every time I see this cover, I have to sing, and you got me let go. What you want from me? Love on the Brain by Rihanna, one of her best ever. Anyway, this literally just came out this month, and so I got it as my book of the month book, and I just really want to read it. I don't know why. The Love Hypothesis, I gave it a 3-star. Like, it wasn't amazing. It wasn't my favorite romance ever, but it was just fun and happy and tropey, and I'm just kind of like, I don't know, it just made me really want to pick this one up as well. So we'll see how I feel about it. But as of right now, this is like the top romance on my TBR. So the rest of these I can kind of split up into categories. So first we're gonna talk about vampire books because it's fall time, bitch. It's Halloween. I want to read vampire books. I tried to read the Crave series earlier this year and that was a hot fucking mess. So since then I have accumulated a few more vampire books on my TBR and I've been saving them for when the weather gets colder. First one is The Coldest Girl in Cold Town, speaking of cold, by Holly Black. I am a Holly Black stan account. If you know me, you know I will read anything this woman writes. I will give her my firstborn child. I would do anything for Holly Black. The Folk of the Air is my favorite series of all time, and everything else I've read from her aside from that has just been great. Like, her writing is just the bread to my butter, or whatever. And this is her take on like a vampire story. I don't really know that much about it. It stars a girl named Tana, and she lives in a world where walled cities called cold towns exist, and in them quarantine monsters and humans mingle in a decadently bloody mix of predator and prey. Once you pass through a cold town's gates, you can never leave. And then I think one morning, Tana and her ex-boyfriend wake up in a cold town, and it just follows that. But I really want to read this. I'm super excited. I'm anticipating at least a 4-star. It's Holly Black. yeah. Then another vampire book that I did pick up is The King of Battle and Blood by Scarlett St. Clair. This is a vampire romance. Adrian, who I believe is like a vampire king, and then Isolde is an assassinator? Assassin. She's an assassin. God, I'm fucking stupid. Isolde basically is set to marry the vampire king and then kill him. And so this follows that. Enemies to lovers. That, it just sounds like a sleigh. And I hope there's smut in this. I don't know if there is. Sounds like a great time for the fall. I want to pick this up. Then we have 2 dark academia books. The first one is If We Were Villains by M.L. Rio. This is also on Kindle Unlimited, by the way. I have wanted to read this for a while. First of all, I just think the cover is stunning. Like, so simple, so elegant, gorgeous, love it. But I've also just heard the most amazing reviews of this book. Like, I feel like everyone loves this book. And I haven't really delved into the dark academia genre that much, but given the fall time, I feel like it's the perfect time to do so. I believe this is like a Shakespearean society, like a bunch of Shakespearean actors at a classical conservatory, and then on opening night, real violence invades the students' world of make-believe. In the morning, the 4th years find themselves facing their very own tragedy, and their greatest challenge yet, convincing the police, each other, and themselves that they are innocent. So I think like maybe one of them dies or something. I don't really know. But it's dark academia, Shakespearean society, murder, violence, crazy. Me trying to explain a book I've never read. Love that. And then we have the Atlas 6. Don't even start with me on the things I had to do to get my hands on this cover. I bought this. This is the one book I bought on my book buying ban, my 2-month book buying ban. So I feel like that's really good. Self-published edition. I just think it's stunning and gorgeous, and I love it. It's so pretty. They really butchered it with the new covers are so ugly. I just hate to say it. I hate to say it. But anyway, this follows the Alexandrian Society, which are like the caretakers of lost knowledge. And I think there's like 6 of them, 6 students, and they're each very unique, and I don't even know what happens. But I've heard there's like a little bit of romance, some mystery, again, just dark academia, secret society, school vibes. And there's even in this self-published edition, there's like stunning artwork and everything. And like, oh, yeah, I'm really excited to read this now that I have this edition. If a cover of a book, I judge books by their cover, and I'm not ashamed to admit that. I know that this is gonna be a series and that the second book, I believe, just came out. I've just decided that if I love this book so much and I wanna read the second, then I'll just buy this one and the second in the new covers so they match. And then this will just be like an extra edition, you know? I don't know. I'm justifying it in my head, but I spent too much money on this book. Now we have some fantasy that I would like to read this fall. First one being Crescent City by Sarah J. Maas. I have had this on my shelf for a while. I am still doing my Court of Thorns and Roses like reading vlogs. I'm gonna read Akawar next. Again, I have to wait till I'm off my book buying ban to buy it, unless you want to send it to me with my Amazon wishlist link in the description box. But yeah, I literally need to wait until I can physically go buy it because I don't own it. But after that, I only think I'm gonna read those 3 books. I don't think I'm gonna read any more in the ACOTAR series. It's just not my favorite. But I am interested in reading this. A very popular booktuber said that this book is like reality TV, and so that made me want to buy it. Eventually, I will start this. It's just massive, like it's huge. I think I'm gonna annotate this, but yeah, it's like murder mystery, fantasy, half fae, half human. Bryce Quinlan has to like unravel a murder, and with the help of Hunt Athalar, who is assigned to like watch over her. I don't really know what these books are about. I don't like to like read the back and know a huge synopsis before I go into a book because I find that it oftentimes ruins things for me. So I'm sorry if I'm not being very helpful with explaining what these books are about, but murder mystery, fantasy, and it's like reality TV, sign me up. Those sound like 3 things that I would really enjoy. I have higher hopes for this than I do for the ACOTAR series, and I think, like, I don't know, it just kind of fits the fall vibe. I think it would work out. And then the next fantasy book that I have been wanting to read that I think I'm gonna pick up this fall is An Ember in the Ashes by Sabaa Tahir. Do you ever just like get a book rec and you just like, you feel deep down in your bones that it's gonna be like a 5-star. That's how I feel with this book, specifically this like series. I think it's a trilogy, don't hold me on that. This is about a girl named Leia, I think is her name, and her brother gets arrested for treason, and in order to help try and rescue him, she strikes a deal with these rebels to be like their spy. So she's gonna go in to the Empire's military academy and like spy for these rebels in exchange for them helping her brother. And that's where she meets Elias, who's like one of the school's finest soldiers. And I think it's like fantasy, political intrigue, romance, just a bunch of shit going on. I don't know. I just feel like I'm gonna love and adore this, and I think it's gonna be a 5 stars. That's also why I haven't started it, because I've been on a book buying ban. I don't want to start this and then like immediately need to read the next book, but I can't go out and buy it. So I do want to start this very soon, but I've been waiting until I'm off my book buying ban, and if needed, I can just go and pick up the rest of the series. Because I'm not really one of those people that likes to buy an entire series before I start it, because 1, that's just too much fucking money, and 2, too much space on my bookshelf. My problem is I buy a whole bunch of first books in series, and then I just never start them because I'm afraid of having to go and buy the rest of the books. It's just a never-ending cycle, okay? But I am planning on reading this fall. Then, kind of switching the vibe, I do have a poetry book. This is Time is a Mother by Ocean Vuong. I am really excited to read this. It's just a poetry collection about his mom. I think it's because his mother died, so I think it's about like grief and dealing with that and going through that. And I just look at the cover. Just look at the cover. Like, isn't this the most fall book you've ever seen in your life? I've heard amazing things about his writing, and I'm just really excited to experience it for myself. I do really love poetry, and yeah, I just think this will be perfect to pick up in the fall time and probably cry because I can't handle the thought of my mom dying. We have 2 more books. First, we have a thriller. You would think there would be more thrillers on this list, but honestly, I'm not the biggest thriller person. Like, I do love a good thriller, but I feel like I have to like intermingle them between other books. I don't think I could just like read like 7 thrillers back to back to back, but I do. This is one that I do want to read this fall. This is The It Girl by Ruth Ware. Pretty sure it's about like a group of friends who reunite years later, and one of them dies or is dead, and I think someone in the friend group like did it. I'm not really sure, but I've heard really good things about Ruth Ware's writing, and a subscriber actually sent this to me, so that kind of put it on my radar, and she said it was one of her favorites. So now I want to read it. And again, it just fits the fall vibes. It fits the cover, the thriller, everything. Yes. And the last book that I'm going to plan on reading for this fall, I don't even know how to classify this. It's Vladimir by Julia May Jones. I got this as a book of the month. It says it's an incandescent debut about marriage and motherhood, art and love, the temptation to see just how close you can get to the fire without getting burned. I'm pretty sure it's about a English professor. Her and her husband both work at the same school, but he starts having an inappropriate relationship with students and is like being investigated. I think. That's about all that I know. One thing I do know though, if you're ever gonna put a shirtless man on a book, this is the way to do it. This cover is everything. Everything. I have never seen a cover with a shirtless man on it that is just 10 out of 10. This is the exception. I don't know how to classify this. Maybe like a contemporary fiction, literary fiction. I don't know. I don't know. This is something that I like anticipate being a 4 or 5 star read for me. So yeah. Gonna read that hopefully sometime soon. Okay, well, that is it for my potential fall TBR. Sorry if I was like the least bit helpful at explaining these books. Again, I just don't want to spoil anything for myself, so a lot of the times I'll learn like a sentence or 2 of what it's about and then just buy it and never look back. Going into books blind, I feel like is the best strategy ever. If you've made it this far in the video, comment down below and let me know what are some of the books that you really want to read this fall, because I'm always looking for more recs and more ideas to add to my shelf. But I will talk to you all in my next video. Bye!